Welcome to Lift Off with Energizing Results, the podcast that can help you become a better partner in your family and a self-propelled leader with inner certainty in your business. Now, here's your host, Uwe Dockhorn.
Welcome to Lift Off with Energizing Results. Let me start with an invitation for you before we dive in. This is a safe and neutral space here. The more open and honest you answer the questions that will come up to yourself, the more effective this will be for you. Sound good? Okay, here we go. Today I'm very excited to introduce you to Lubna Samara. How are you doing, Lubna, and where are you hanging out right now?
Hi, Uwe. It's a real pleasure to be here on your show and on your podcast. And I'm based in central London, UK.
Wonderful. Yay. There you go. Yes, there are more Londons, I know. All right, so Lubna is founder of HigherWill, winner of Best Leadership and Spiritual Coaching Company in 2021 of the SME Greater London Awards. She holds a degree in math and MBA in finance and is a mentor with the Healing Trust. And I think your mission to transcend your limitations and unfold your potential is remarkable. So I'm very thankful I can talk to you today, Lubna.
Thank you, Uwe.
Wonderful.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. So let's dive right in. So first thing I want to know is who's your ideal client and what's the biggest challenge they face?
Our ideal clients are businesses, so leaderships and their teams. And challenge, in my view, the most important, probably one of the most important qualities of being an effective leader is to have that clarity of vision. And it's not just about setting the end goal, but in how you're going to get there, the strategy that you're going to be formulating. And a lot of the leaders tend to be great at the technical aspects. They're brilliant at setting strategies, at systems and processes. But the clarity of vision can get very fuzzy when people come under stress, you know? So, and from internal or external factors. And not everybody is born a Martin Luther King or a Gandhi, and who can basically maintain equilibrium, keep everybody motivated, pulling the team together and stay the course for true north. So I'd say the challenge is how to maintain clarity of vision while navigating stresses that come with managing a team and getting and keeping them aligned, motivated, and pulling together in the same direction.
Oh, much clearer now. Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so because we are human, right? Most of us claim that. So, yeah, what are common mistakes your clients typically make when trying to solve that kind of problem?
So when problems start to manifest and there's stresses on the strategies, for instance, and they start to not work so well, the team can start breaking up. If they're not a really strong team and stay supportive to the leader, the team can start to break up. So, and as you know, we all have our own emotional patternings from childhood, and people will tend to regress into these, when we're under pressure. So, some will maybe withdraw and maybe start procrastinating. Some may become more overly assertive. Some may just kind of decide not to come into the office and take days off sick. So the mistakes when that starts to happen is most leaders who, as you said, are also human. The mistake they make is not to maintain that equilibrium, in which case you have, I see one of two things really happening quite commonly. One is they will start withdrawing from the team, and they can come across then to the team, they start distancing, they can start coming to the team as a bit authoritarian, and the connection starts to suffer. Or they're going to go in the other direction and they can become maybe too emotionally involved with the team, in which case they may start to lose control of the team. And in either instance, the clarity is going to suffer, because one is they don't know really how then they're going to come back on track with the strategies, because the team they've lost that connection maybe. And the other side, they become too emotionally engaged, then clarity of vision goes, as we all know. And so that's really, it's a bit like ski. I always think it's a bit like a skier. If you're too far into the mountain, your skis are going to go away from under you. And if you're too far out, you're going to tumble. You need to stay rooted and connected and in control so you can navigate any bumps ahead.
It's navigating this fine balance between the two, and that makes a better leader. And so wonderful. Yeah, wonderfully explained. So before I ask Lubna what is one valuable free action that our audience can easily implement, let me quickly say something to our audience here. If you are enjoying the show so far, please rate and recommend us to someone you think could benefit from the show. Thank you in advance for spreading the word. So, Lubna, what is one valuable free action that our audience can implement with that will help with these kinds of issues?
Working with values. It's in my view, it's nothing pulls a team faster together and iron out misunderstandings like working with values. And I have a blog on my website that's called Values and How They Can Work for You. And there's a couple of examples and exercises there that they can do. One is specifically designed for teams. So, I mean, it is really to help them get everybody talking about their ideas, stimulates creativity, improves communication, and creates just trying to create a more fertile environment in order to progress a project forward.
And what is one thing that they can, what you can do on a daily basis so that just remind yourself? We go into the free resources in a bit, but what is it that, something tangible that, a listener can walk away and just implement in their daily life?
There's a lot they can do, but I'd say the most important thing is to stay aware of how you're reacting and how to, I'm really big on taking personal responsibility. As children, we don't need to have personal responsibility. No one's going to hold you to account. But it's one of the rites of passage, I think, is in moving from blaming everybody else into being sovereign, and just bringing awareness to our behavior, understanding how our hearts are responding to certain things, and not to just not just react to our triggers, is one of the kind of the fundamentals before you can really there are free meditations on my website that people can do, and I love that. And of course meditation is amazing, but when you're really upset and it's hard for a lot of people to go there. But I would say the first thing is start questioning. Start questioning yourself, your behavior. Are you am I really behaving the way I do I like myself? Do I respect myself? Ask these questions, and it's only you who can answer. So that's the first thing I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you for diving there deeper. So it's essentially sharpening your self-awareness about yourself so that you can use all the other tools that helps you to gain that balance, that we talked earlier on. So Luna, I want to give you also the opportunity now to share where people can find you. And also if you already mentioned some free resources, but also if you have something else that helps our audience further.
Well, I have to say, I love the way you nutshelled what I said in a very long way in one sentence. I'm going to make a note of that. But yes, when people go on my website, a pop-up comes up, and I have a 7 Steps to Clarity PDF, which has, I think it's about 17 pages. It goes into a bit more detail on the first step, of course, is exactly what we were just talking about, is being sovereign. And taking responsibility for the self, and then it develops that towards kind of looking at the emotions, communication, the mental side, and then looking at activating potential, regaining that clarity of vision. So that is one free resource that they can have.
Excellent. And of course, we'll put the link in the show description so folks can check it out. Thank you for sharing, Lubna. So what's the one question I should have asked you that would be of great value to our audience?
Well, when I first read this, the first thing that came to mind is, what is spiritual intelligence? But I think I'm going to go with the second thing that I think may be more valuable to your listeners is, what does spirituality have to do with leadership? Because when I'm working one-to-one, they already got it. I never needed to justify that. But when I started doing it more kind of publicly, I started getting people saying, what does spirituality have to do with leadership? And the first time I was asked that question, I was like, what? They don't get it. And so then I kind of thought, well, actually, it's not obvious. And so I developed like 4 areas that I work with, which companies which already exist. And all these areas already use a lot of spiritual elements. So the first area is corporate social responsibility. that's clear, where it has a lot of, benefiting the community as well as the organization, and creating that win-win. The second area is corporate purpose, organizational purpose, mission, vision, and values. Again, purpose, values, all very spiritual elements. So these are areas that can be developed. The third area I work with is what has become known as servant leadership, and which I'm not very fond of the term, because I think to say that to a leader most of the time that I'd like to take a picture of their face. But service leadership for me is about, and it's a very old concept. I mean, it's written up about in the I Ching, to lead truly is to serve. Plato talked about it 2,500 years ago, that if you want to be a leader, you first need to know how to serve. So this is, again, very spiritual concepts, benefiting the people you're leading, there are bringing benefits. So, and the last area I work with is the personal responsibility, that each one of us is like a drop of water. We can create ripples that are very harmonious and conducive to our environment, or we can be very discordant and disruptive. So again, that is a very clear spiritual area that can be developed. So, I would actually argue the opposite. It's impossible to keep good leadership and spirituality separate.
I really love that you highlight this, and it's kind of like we have this understanding, and that there must be a spirit in the machines, right? So there's kind of like, so we already have that connection, but we not really convincingly do it in the business context. But more often than not, I experience over the last couple of years that this is a field that is opening up to spirituality, especially the business. In the business context. So I'm really grateful that you shared this with us today and opened the door to see it from a different perspective. And this brings me to my final question. It's a personal one. When was the last time you experienced goosebumps with your family, and why?
Well, actually, not so long ago, it was like 2 or 3 days before New Year. I was lucky enough to be in Spain by the beach, and I just kind of looked out on the water, and the sun happened to be setting. It was just like oranges, gold, and pinks, and the sky was a midnight blue, which was weird. Normally you would not, with a new moon and stars are out. There was one person on the beach. He had a fishing rod with him, just sitting there, so peaceful, and the sax player even in the background. And I thought, I was just like, whoa, that was, all of us have so many problems, including me, and we all hit low points. But when you see moments like this and you feel how we're all so connected to each other, and just the majesty of it, it's puts everything in perspective, and it's a great leveler. It's just moments like this that make our lives, really. So yeah.
I can definitely feel that, and thank you for connecting us to this beautiful goosebumps moment, this experience, to opening up our hearts. So thank you, Lubna, for this beautiful goosebumps moment. Excuse me. Thank you for our conversation. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I appreciate very much the knowledge and insight you share with us today.
Uwe, thank you so much for your platform. I think it just gives so many of us, people like me, a chance to really talk about what we do, and I think you're wonderful. I'm a big fan. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And as always, energizing results to you and your loved ones.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on Apple Podcast, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information at uwedockhorn.com.